You know, life has a strange way of turning the tables. The same people who once betrayed you, who mocked you when you were at your lowest, they were so sure you'd never get back up. They thought your fall was permanent. But here's what they didn't understand. Karma doesn't rush. It's not a lightning strike, it's a quiet storm, gathering strength in the distance, waiting for the perfect moment to arrive. And when it does, it hits with precision. Right now, some of those very people are watching everything they built crumble in their hands. Not because you fought back, not because you planned revenge, but because the seeds they planted, seeds of lies, betrayal, and cruelty, have finally grown into a harvest they cannot escape. In this video, we're going to uncover how karma really works, why those who wrong you eventually face consequences far greater than you could ever give them yourself, and most importantly, how you can stand tall, live well, and win, without ever lifting a finger for revenge. Because the greatest victory is letting life do the punishing for you. Part 1: Misunderstanding Silence and True Strength. Most people get it wrong. They think that if you're quiet, you've lost. If you walk away, you've surrendered, and if you stop fighting back, it must mean you've accepted defeat. But the truth is, silence can be the loudest declaration of power you'll ever make. Because real strength isn't about reacting to every attack, it's about choosing where your energy goes. And who gets to have it? When you step back, you're not giving up, you're rebuilding, you're restoring your mental clarity. You're setting boundaries so solid that nothing toxic can cross them. This is what discipline looks like, not the kind that demands applause, but the kind that quietly rewires your life from the inside out. Think of it like tending a garden. Growth doesn't happen in the middle of chaos, it happens in stillness. The soil needs time, the roots grow underground, unseen, and then, one day, the world looks up and wonders where all that beauty came from. Meanwhile, the ones who tried to break you are still stuck in the same cycle, repeating the same mistakes, chasing the same hollow victories, and never realizing they're trapped. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They weren't chasing quick wins to feed their pride. They were playing the long game. To them, true victory was living well, rising above, and letting time prove the truth. Silence is not weakness, it's strategy, it's healing, and it's the seedbed of a kind of power that lasts far longer than revenge ever could. Part 2: How Karma Works and the First Signs. Karma doesn't slam the door in an instant, it starts quietly, by collecting the debts people don't even realize they owe. Every lie they told, every person they hurt, every seed of chaos they planted, it all piles up. And one day, that weight becomes too heavy to carry, and their so-called stability starts to crack. You see, they don't notice your strength anymore. Not because it's gone, but because you're no longer performing for their approval, or their judgment. You've learned the art of moving in silence, of letting your growth happen off the stage and away from their noise. And that's where karma gains momentum. Because the less you engage, the more control you have over your own story. You stop feeding the fire of their chaos. And eventually, they have to face the flames alone. I think of a woman I once knew, betrayed by someone she trusted deeply. She could have fought back, exposed every detail, tried to win the battle in public. But she didn't. She chose silence. She poured her energy into her career, her health, her happiness. And while she was building, the one who betrayed her was unraveling, tripping over their own lies until the truth became impossible to hide. She didn't have to destroy them. They did it themselves. That's the thing about silence, it's not passive. It's not weakness. It's an active form of protection. It's saying, I will not let you drag me into your storm. I will stay in my peace. The first sign karma is working is subtle. They start losing the control they thought they had over you. They no longer get to push your buttons, dictate your emotions, or rewrite your story. And when you stay quiet, you stay free. Part 3: 3 Signs Karma is at Work. When karma starts moving, it's not always dramatic at first, but the signs are there if you know where to look. And if you've ever been wronged, recognizing these signs can be both eye-opening and strangely comforting. The first sign is isolation. One by one, their allies begin to walk away. At first, it's subtle. People stop returning calls. Invitations dry up. Conversations become colder. Then it becomes undeniable. The circle they once relied on has dissolved. Why? Because truth has a way of seeping through the cracks. People eventually see the patterns, the manipulation, the harm, and once they see it, they can't unsee it. Nobody wants to stand next to a collapsing wall. The second sign is loss of control. The tactics that once worked, the manipulation, the calculated charm, the intimidation, suddenly fail. Their plans backfire. The doors that once opened for them now stay shut. And here's the thing. It's not because the world suddenly turned against them. It's because without the ability to exploit others, they have no real power left. Their influence wasn't built on truth, it was built on leverage. And leverage doesn't last forever. The third sign is desperation. When the isolation sets in and the control slips away, they try to claw back what they've lost. They reach out, sometimes with fake apologies, sometimes with sudden friendliness. They'll frame it as reconciliation. But if you look closely, it's not about remorse, it's about survival. They're not coming back because they've changed. They're coming back because they've run out of options. And this is where the Stoic mindset becomes your greatest shield. You can choose to forgive, but forgiveness doesn't mean reopening the door. It means letting go of the bitterness for your own peace, while still protecting the boundaries that keep you safe. Marcus Aurelius said it best: the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. So, when karma starts working, don't get pulled into their chaos. Don't mistake their desperation for genuine change. Stay steady, stay free, and let time finish what it started. Part 4: Why you shouldn't let them back in. When someone who hurt you comes knocking again, it's tempting to think, maybe they've changed, maybe this time will be different. But here's a hard truth. People don't usually transform in a matter of weeks or months. Deep-rooted behaviors take years to unlearn. And most of the time, they haven't done that work. Letting them back into your life without real change is like inviting a storm into your home because the sky looks clear for the moment. It's only a matter of time before the wind howls and the damage begins again. Keeping your boundaries isn't cruelty, it's justice. It's a way of saying, I'm not here to punish you, but I'm also not going to save you from the consequences of your actions. That space you maintain allows them to face their reality and, hopefully, learn the lessons life has been trying to teach them. The uncomfortable truth is, many people don't come back out of love or regret, they come back out of need. They return because they've lost something. Money, influence, relationships. You're not their first choice, you're their last resort. I once knew a man whose former business partner betrayed him, stole clients, undercut deals, spread lies to gain the upper hand. Years later, that same partner's empire collapsed. Desperate, he reached out with promises to make things right and start fresh. But the man he'd wronged said no, not out of spite, but out of wisdom. He understood that taking him back wasn't an act of kindness. It was a risk to his future. And here's what the Stoics teach us. Closure doesn't come from hearing, I'm sorry, it comes from within you. It's the moment you realize you don't need their apology to move forward. You've already freed yourself. So when they try to step back into your life, remember, forgiveness can live alongside distance. You can wish them well from afar while protecting the peace you fought so hard to build. That's not bitterness, that's self-respect. Part 5: The real victory and signs you've already won. The moment you realize you've truly won is rarely the moment you think it will be. It doesn't come with applause. It doesn't come with your enemy admitting defeat. It comes quietly, almost unnoticed, until one day you look up and realize you've been living free all along. The first sign? Their name no longer stirs anything in you. No anger, no sadness, no racing heartbeat, just neutrality. They've gone from being the villain in your story to being just another character who passed through. The second sign? You've gone further than they ever thought you could. You're living a life they can't touch, whether it's peace of mind, meaningful work, healthier relationships, or simply a joy they can't manufacture. Your success isn't about outshining them, it's about becoming who you were always meant to be. The third sign? They start copying you. The very boundaries they once mocked, they now try to enforce in their own lives. The lifestyle they once dismissed suddenly becomes their blueprint. But imitation isn't victory, it's a quiet admission that your way was better. The fourth sign? You see them with clarity. You no longer romanticize the good or exaggerate the bad. You just see them for who they are. And in that clarity, hatred has no room to breathe. The fifth sign? You have no desire for revenge. Not because you've forgotten what happened, but because you've outgrown the need for it. Revenge feels small when you're living big. And the sixth, your silence speaks louder than any argument could. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. You don't need to win a verbal battle. Your life, your calm, your growth, your resilience, speaks for you. That's the real victory, not crushing them. Not proving them wrong, but turning your wounds into fuel for a breakthrough so powerful that the person you've become no longer fits into the story they tried to write for you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." And when you've reached this point, you've done exactly that. You've stopped living in reaction to them. You've started living in creation for yourself. And that, my friend, is how you win, without ever having to fight. Part 6: The Ultimate Power of Letting Go of Revenge. There's a moment in life when you realize you no longer need revenge, and when that moment comes, you step into a kind of power that nothing and no one can touch. Because while they're still stuck playing the same petty games, trying to win battles that don't matter, you've moved to a different arena entirely. You're not even in the same fight anymore. You've outgrown it. The world notices that shift. The whispers, the lies, the smear campaigns, they lose their weight when your life tells a different story. People stop listening to the noise and start paying attention to your results. Your success becomes the loudest truth there is. And here's the irony. The people who once tried to tear you down will find themselves needing you more than you'll ever need them. That's not arrogance, that's reality. You've built something they can't replicate. Because it wasn't born out of manipulation or shortcuts. It was forged in the fire of endurance, discipline, and integrity. The Stoics would call this the highest form of victory, not defeating your enemy, but becoming so far removed from their reach that they can't touch you even if they try. Your achievements speak for themselves. Your presence commands respect, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. And the most beautiful part? You've taken every wound, every betrayal, every night you thought you couldn't go on, and turned them into fuel. Now, those same scars are your armor. They're proof of what you've survived, and a reminder that nothing outside of you has the power to break you anymore. Karma doesn't need an audience. It delivers justice in silence. And while it's doing its work, you're protecting your inner peace, building something unshakable, and living a life that makes revenge feel small in comparison. Because in the end, the greatest statement you can make isn't, "I got even," it's, "I moved on, and I'm thriving."